Now Nigel says he's going to let you win this year, Paul.
Nigel, it's the fat man in the Bentley we've got to watch out for. That's what worries me. He's on fine form.
Less so fat now, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, 6 weeks.
Looking pretty healthy.
He's taking it seriously, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, I know.
trying to keep the weight down.
All this calm in the cockpit nonsense. Don't believe a word of it. Shouting and screaming.
Paul Carter's morning has not gone well, and he and Heather Milne-Taylor have dropped out of the top 10. Has arrived in Cortina to a civic welcome, the high street closed for the occasion. Incredibly, Carter and Milne-Taylor have taken the lead without a working halder.
Well, we've driven all day with no halder, and we've done well with no halder, but I want a halder for tomorrow.
Why don't you just leave this hanging? It goes in this side,
Yeah.
and it goes out this side.
And it comes in there and goes out there. So we've got to get that off.
Regular tour of the Dolomites. Talk at the first control was still of yesterday's halderless driving.
Do a puncture?
No, just ball tyres.
Yours? Yeah. I like the mutual aid.
We help each other.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's you again.
Yeah.
Go away. This man's winning at the moment, leading the whole rally in this
leader.
thing. Can you believe it?
You can only do your best.
Overall.
Overall. Oh, yes.
By how
Pressure.
much?
30 seconds, I think. But we went all day yesterday with no halder. We lost all the water out the side of the engine at the top of the Stelvia. Didn't use the engine all the way down the hill. Filled it up with water and it came out the side of the engine. 2 loose nuts, tightened the nuts and the water stopped coming out the side of the engine. Off we went again.
What was
Amazing.
What was it like down the Gavia?
Hairy.
Narrow road.
Hairy, it was narrow. And the brake fades, you know, once you've pressed the brakes 4 times, you lose the brakes completely. But you go down in first gear, double declutch for the first gear for the hairpins, and round you go. Let the brakes cool down, and you got brakes again.
So what was wrong with the holder?
So the cable went. But we've cobbled together one off a TR. Had to change the assembly unit off another car, and off we go.
So you were using your memory, Heather, were you?
And kilometre posts and all sorts. Anything, you'd be amazed. There was even a kilometre marker on a shed going up one of them. And they don't put as many going downhill as they do uphill, it would appear, you know, but it was all right, we survived.
Maximum time.
5 minutes, went the wrong bloody way.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was brilliant, although we had to shunt 3 times on the road going up, so it was getting a bit frantic. And then when we hit the rough stuff, of course, I'm hanging onto the side of the car, and I couldn't actually, you know, keep track of I couldn't, my finger was jumping on the speed tables, and I was having a job seeing the clip, and then of course the mud flew up, and I'd got one eye full of mud, and I'm working on one eye then, but it was really great fun. I mean, it was good, that.
Next morning, and it's back to the clouds, the big Bentley taking a well-deserved win, the first vintage car ever to win a classic marathon.
What a drive on the rain. Unbelievable. I got no tread on the back tyres. Making the time, we were just all over the road, understeering, oversteering, all over the place. But we got here and I think we've done it. So very happy, very relieved. But cool. What a trip.
33rd overall.
That was a fantastic rally.
Was it?
That's the best rally I've been involved with. We normally don't finish. These old bangers have done really well, got us to the end. I love the bit with the map for navigating. I love that bit over the gravel yesterday. And this morning was challenging. If you get something and you make it 72 years ago and it weighs 2 tons, and then you put bold tyres on the back and a complete spare overdrive unit and 40 gallons of fuel in it with no brakes, and then it rains, it is serious fun. We've been round, spinning, feathering the throttle. I think that's the word they use. Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much, Philip.
The big beefy Rover looks at home here, but there's also a limo, with Lord Montagu hitching a lift in the back seat where the Queen used to sit on tours of Australia. How can you expose a Royal Rolls-Royce to the rugged foothills of the Tibetan Plateau?
Great caution. Yes, there'll be a challenge. That'll be the most difficult part. Once we're over those, and once we go past those muddy roads in Nepal, I think basically we're home and dry then.
Seems a bit of an indignity for that car.
I think it's been an excellent trial for its reliability of Rolls-Royces.
The road isn't too bad, but often it runs on top of an embankment. So if something comes the other way, there's nowhere to go. In the West, there'd be slow signs, but here, there's a more eloquent warning. Abominable enough to hurt the Royal Rolls-Royce, even though her owners tested her in the Australian outback and fitted extra springs. Or is the trouble caused by the extra springs?
And I suspect we broke a spring. That's not a Rolls-Royce spring we broke, it's one of the extra springs that we put in, which really craps us off.
Of course it's not a Rolls-Royce.
No, it's always the extra bit. Of course what's happened now is made it all a bit uneven, and when the wheels travel on the mud flat, it's actually pushing the wheel back. And whether this is because we've now got uneven springs, and we can't go very fast. We ideally would like to get it up in a hoist, take the spring off, ideally put a new one on, or at least weld it together.
When might you be able to do that?
Well, that's a problem. Maybe the army base? Otherwise we're going to have to limp very slowly to Martha. The other problem is we put the extra spring on to give us a little bit of clearance. So it goes down, the whole thing is keep your car original. Finish. Cut.
Now a symbol in its day of all things English. Adam Hartley's 1929 4.5 litre pure thoroughbred Bentley.
Well, we'll get there in the end. Wait a minute, I just got to reverse a bit because we've lost the starter motor here.
We've just got a couple of rather deep ruts which some of the cars are grounding on. It's a little bit soft, so we're just going to stop here and assist them through. When we get like the one that's just passed, it struggled, we're going to tow.
Bill Binney's magnificent Bentley comes gargling along the road to Kathmandu. He's just had a narrow escape, but euphoria prevails.
That screeching you just heard was us. Some truck decided to pass some kind of weird farm instrument and almost drove us into the ditch. Did you hear it? We survived. Yeah, we did.
Is stunning.
The truth about adventures is that you tend to enjoy looking back on them more than you actually enjoyed having them, is the grand old 1927 Mercedes. To catch us up, its Dutch driver shared an adventure with the Australians in the Royal Rolls-Royce. They dropped out long ago when we were still among the Chinese, but they've bounced back. The word is that they and the Mercedes both got here by sleeping in their broken-down cars till lorries came along.
The next day a truck turned up. When the truck turned up, it came up with the China travel people, who turned around and said to us if we didn't pay $3,000 for the tow-in, they would walk away. And indeed, when we said it was too much, they turned around and walked away.
Take it or leave it.
And they said take it or leave it. So finally we agreed. And for a 19-hour trip on the back of a truck, it cost us $3,000. Trucks took us to Choksam, and on that route, Mr. Ma from China Travel twice intervened to try and get the cars taken off the trucks. I have nothing but disgust for that man. Anyway, he didn't succeed and we got to Choksam, but at Choksam it was obvious the trucks couldn't go through the landslip, so they dropped us off the trucks at Choksam and I then proceeded to drive down through the Friendship Pass by myself, and I drove down keeping fuel in the reserve tank and only allowing a small amount into the main tank. And I drove very carefully at an average speed of just over 2 kilometers an hour down that pass. And the Friendship Pass with this big car was very difficult. You know, 6 inches to clear on the sides on those falls, and all those mud and water slides. Twice I got out of the car and rebuilt roads so that I could go through those water slides. And managed to do it without bouncing a back wheel, which was what I was aiming to do, so I wouldn't break the spring.
Spirit of 1907, then.
Yes, I think everyone was very, very surprised to see us.
One of the Bentleys arrives to pay tribute to our director, Philip Young, holding court at the time check like a cannibal chief among his subjects. This very English motor is driven by a Dane, Shell Jessen. Good chap, that Jessen. Drives a Bentley and does a passable imitation of a real Englishman. Today's long haul ends in Delhi at a grand hotel, the Ashok, with a welcome that's probably traditional and certainly hard work. That's John Stuttard, another multinational accountant, tearing up his spreadsheets. Tigers are on the mind of our ultra-British Dane, Brigadier General Jessen.
I have this tiger gun here, and you can use it many times. Now listen. Plop, and they go away. And if there are many of them, do it a few times. And there will be no Bengal tiger. Can you see any? There aren't any.
None at all.
It works.
Listed the chassis engine number and the first owner. And the coach builder. That's very interesting.
It looks authentic enough. Even if it isn't, WO would be very proud, I'm sure.
How about right here? Aha, there you go. Try that. NX3458.
Right here.
Yeah, this is it.
That's it. That's May 29 Coupe. Victor
29,
Broom
that's
is the coach builder.
Never heard of him.
Did you know that? And
Oh, we knew
Sanderson
that.
Did you?
Ah, of course we did.
Brum brum.
This is engine number 3458, which was originally in this one, the NX3458 was originally.
To see.
No one's molesting Kjell Jessen, our Danish mock-English gentleman. His solar topi wards off the frightful heat, his pop gun keeps tigers at bay, and he heads resolutely west. Bentley on the edge. Kjell Jessen with his son ready to rush to the time control. He's driven many races, and this one was Bentley heaven.
Just what the car's built for? Absolutely. Fantastic. This is millimeter, and this is the Stelvio Pass in Pakistan. And it reminds me of the Kuiper Pass, which we are not allowed to go into. It's full of mines, but it's the same thing. Very, very perfect.
The Bentley really liked it.
Yes, he didn't like the trucks coming down there.
Right.